Oh, it's a heating up Monday, Broncos country. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. ESPN just gave Broncos fans a big-time reason to get hyped up after the NFL Combine. We'll also combo this with some recent NFL news and talk a little bit about the running back market on the back half of this episode, because if you've been paying attention to anything in the NFL world, a major move was just made. But I'll start off by saying this. If there was a theme to what the Broncos free agency news would be right now, to me it would be where there's smoke, there is fire. And I'll tell you what I mean coming up here right after I remind you guys that we will be live for NFL free agency all 3 days. So there will be live on March 11th, live on March 12th, live on March 13th. So if you have not subscribed, you got to be locked in with us here at the Broncos Breakdown. And make sure that you hit the noti gang. We are trying to get up to 14% on our noti gain. So do me a favor, as we sit at 13.5, lock us in and hit that bell icon and select the all option. So where does the smoke start to percolate a little bit? Because remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, the stars are aligning, in my opinion, for Mike Evans to go to Denver. And I'll tell you why I say that. And this is where ESPN comes into all of this. ESPN said in a very much recent report over the weekend during the Combine that Mike Evans claimed that there are some requirements for what his next team is going to be. And per Jeremy Fowler, those requirements are in 4 categories. Number 1, a quarterback that he believes in. Well, I think we can all agree that Bo Nix is a quarterback that most players believe in. Number 2, a chance at a Super Bowl. Oh, well, color me stupid, but weren't the Broncos just the number 1 overall seed, made it to the AFC Championship? A top-shelf offensive coordinator. Now, this one's a question mark only because Davis Webb has yet to call plays, will call plays this year, but people in league circles all believe that this guy is head and shoulders the next Ben Johnson type of offensive coordinator. And, of course, the promise of high-volume touches. And I think we can all agree that the Broncos having that number 1 wide receiver, which Mike Evans would come in and be, I think that also would be a green. So you've got 3 for sure, and a little bit of a question mark on the 4th, but I think we can all agree that that's pretty much almost a green question mark as well. And Mike Evans, despite the injury concerns, guys, is still an excellent wide receiver. I mean, if you just go back to his 2025 numbers. And this is by only playing 8 games in the 2025 season due to injury. He was 22nd in average depth of target. His overall grade was 53rd. Yards after the catch per reception was not the greatest, but again, remember, he wasn't exactly the yak monster. He was more of that possessions wide receiver. His contested catch rate is still really good, and his drop rate was also a little bit lower, but again, a lot of that was accounted for because of the injuries. And Jeremy Fowler doubling down exactly on what Evans' requirements are going to be. Evans will limit his choices to a handful of teams in part because of his criteria. He wants a quarterback that he can believe in. He wants a chance at winning a Super Bowl, a top-shelf OC, and the promise of high-volume touches. All of those meet the requirements of the Denver Broncos. It is making too much sense. The stars are aligning. Now, I know that there are a lot of reports out there that indicate that Evans is not necessarily moving off of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I also believe that the reason the Buccaneers went off and drafted Emeka Egbuka last year is to be a Chris Godwin or Mike Evans replacement. Knowing that both of those players have injury history, knowing that both of those players are getting older, you would need someone to move off from. And Mike Evans hit free agency first. They just re-signed Chris Godwin. So take 2025 out of the equation just for a second. Okay? Go back to 2024, over 1,000 yards. Go back to 2023, over 1,000 yards. Go back to 2022, over 1,000 yards. This is a guy that also finds the end zone. You would essentially be getting a second Courtland Sutton. That's basically who he plays like right now. Given his age, given what he's been through with the injuries, he is essentially a second Courtland Sutton. So you'd have two of them on your team. You'd have Evans, Sutton, Troy Franklin as your number 3, Marvin Mims as your number 4. Well, Pat Bryant probably as your number 4. Either way, that becomes one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. I mean, it's not close, and it's not the same Mike Evans. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that you're not going to get the 2021 Mike Evans or the 2022 Mike Evans. But this is still a 1,000-yard wide receiver that fits the Peyton mold perfectly. Long, aggressive, strong, quick enough on his feet, an excellent route runner. He's got the height. He's got the weight. He's got everything that you're looking for in a Sean Payton style of wide receiver. All that is left to do is figure out the financials. And I wouldn't go beyond a 2-year deal, right? Given his age, 32 years old, I would say it's a 2-year deal somewhere in the ballpark of, I mean, he was making, what, $20 million that last year? He's not going to get that. 2 years, $25 million. Right? Maybe a little higher than that, maybe 2 years, $26 million, somewhere around there with the incentives to get him up to 30. I mean, let's be honest, Evans is still going to get somewhat of a pretty sizable contract, even being 32 years old. So if the Denver Broncos were to make this move, grade it for me. I think it's a solid B+. I can't give it an A because we're not talking about 28-year-old Mike Evans. But a B+ nonetheless, because essentially you're doubling and just cloning Courtland Sutton and putting him on the opposite side. And I think that allows either one of those two, Evans or Sutton, to really explode in 2026. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about the most recent news in the NFL and what it means for the Denver Broncos. And I do believe that this is indicative of what you're going to see this week. Right? These moves that are being made are indicative of what these GMs are loading up for before free agency. We'll touch on all of that here in a second. But before we do that, my friends, you are only 2 weeks away from St. Paddy's Day. So do me a favor. Load up on the very best Denver drinking team merch. I'm going to be sporting this when I get my hands on it. Mine's coming in the mail. I'm so excited for it. I'm going to be celebrating St. Paddy's Day the right way. Why wouldn't you celebrate with your friends? And if you want to rock this exclusive gear, limited time only, you got to use the link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video. Made it super simple for you. Or if you want to type it out the long way, chatsports.com/Denver Green is the best way to get your hands on this sick shirt. Let's go back to earlier today, about 40 minutes before the time of this recording. The Lions traded standout running back David Montgomery to the Houston Texans. Now, we did put Monty on our trade targets board, and now he's officially off of it. But do not fret. This is not bad news for the Broncos. It does mean something for Denver, which I'll touch on here in just a moment. But here's what the Texans are getting. David Montgomery, who is only getting a $6 million cap hit in 2026, followed by a $9 million cap hit in 2027. This is pretty stereotypical for a starting caliber running back, between $6 and $9 million. And the Lions are acquiring backup offensive lineman Juice Scruggs, at a 2026 fourth-round pick and a 2026 seventh. So believe it or not, I kind of think the Lions won the trade. Sure, they're getting a certified RB1 in Houston. But a fourth rounder and a seventh rounder and an offensive lineman, that's a lot of capital for David Montgomery. But this is not about David Montgomery. I just want to make this aware because usually when one trade starts, that gets everybody else, those juices flowing, no pun intended for Mr. Scruggs. So let's take a look at the running back market now. I believe we can categorize them now into two categories. Running backs that are off the board and running backs that are still on the board, still very much alive for free agency. So let's talk about the ones that are off the board now. I think Breece Hall is off the board. Obviously, the incoming transition tag most likely will allow other teams to do the bidding for Breece Hall without them actually getting Breece Hall, because the Jets will then match whatever the other team puts up there on the market for him. And, of course, David Montgomery traded to the Texans. But the running backs that are still available, Kenneth Walker, who all signs indicate now is leaving Seattle, which is good news for the Broncos. Tyler Algier, who is definitely leaving Atlanta. Rico Dowdle, who is definitely leaving Carolina. Travis Etienne, who is leaving Jacksonville. And, of course, Aaron Jones, who was recently released by the Vikings earlier this weekend. So now you've got 5 options that are definitely available for the Broncos if they so choose to. But, and this is a very big but, I don't think Denver is going to pursue a running back in free agency anymore. I think with what they have shown at the Combine with Jadarian Price and Emmett Johnson, Jonah Coleman, I think the Broncos are shifting to wide receiver or tight end in free agency. They'll clean up a little bit of stuff, maybe on the offensive line, maybe on defense in the linebacker department. But I think on offense specifically, it's wide receiver or it's tight end. So let's break it down real quick. Let's go wide receiver first. Mike Evans, obviously we just listed him. Wan'Dale Robinson, traditional slot guy, a little bit lower on my list for the Broncos. Jawan Jennings, another big body target to go on the opposite side of Courtland Sutton. Jalen Naylor's been getting a lot of buzz recently. The Vikings are apparently ready to kind of move off of him, but there's a lot of teams that are interested in him. And Alec Pierce, of course, who does look like he's going to remain in Indianapolis, but nothing is official yet. Now we go to the free agency targets, the tight end targets. Njoku, most likely going to the Falcons. Likely Otten Goddard. Keep your name on Isaiah Likely. I feel like that's a perfect fit for the Denver Broncos. Either way, the market is heating up drastically. You are seeing it over and over and over again. You heard multiple reports from guys like Middlecoff and from guys at ESPN. These GMs are more aggressive in the trade market than ever before. So you will see, in my opinion, believe it or not, fun fact here, just a quick little TV timeout. My hot take going into this week, I said this to my dad on Sunday, yesterday at the time of this recording. I said to him, my hot take was there were going to be 3 trades this week before free agency start. We've already got 2 and it's Monday. So it's crazy, producer JD. So the market is going to be heating up. Maybe we'll see more than 3 trades. I don't know, but I'm excited because we got juice, and I love juice, not just for my job, but we get to talk about football again, and that's exactly why you come to this channel. So subscribe for free agency news, going live for any major move the Broncos make. We are on our way. Believe it or not, JD, that number is incorrect. We are at 57,000, not 51,000. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Make sure that you hit that bell icon, and we will, of course, see you guys in the next episode. Broncos country, a little mile high salute to you. Be cool.